use the fact it's raining, but I'm on a tight schedule, so we are going to have to keep going. We've got here our rhubarb, and it's gone mad again. I'm not sure how much of this we should harvest now. On to the raspberries, and do you know, there are a couple. There are a few raspberries. I wonder if there are going to be more, because I'm told that this is an autumn flowering raspberry plant, and they are supposed to deliver this year. I think those were or are going to be the flowers. Can you see? Where are we? There we are. Anyway, herb garden looking okay. Most of the herbs have finished flowering now. The chive is tried to flower again. And we also have this. This is flowering. This is feverfew. Our feverfew is flowering. It's quite amazing, really. On we go. Celery. Not doing much. Wanted it to grow higher off the ground. Lots and lots of leaves, but if you look at the stem, that's not going to do much for celery, is it? That needs to grow. Spring onions doing fine, catching up. The lettuce has finally taken. We've planted a lot more lettuce, and it was touch and go as to whether it would actually take or not, but it has. The old lettuce needs to come up now, so I'm going to pull up one of these little gems. This one is huge. Oh, there he comes. And I'm going to try and take up part of this red one, because there's two red ones here, but that red one, oh, that can come up as well, because these, they need eating now. As you can see, the rocket has gone to seed. In fact, still edible is rocket when it goes to seed. It just makes it hotter, whereas with most of the other types of lettuce, they go very, very bitter once they've gone to seed. Not so for the rocket. If we continue, the celeriac is looking quite healthy, because if you look at the bottom, I've just seen at the bottom there, you can see it's beginning to bowl. And the beetroot looks excellent, although yes, you can sort of see a beetroot down there, can't you? Where the stems meet the bottom, you see there's a beetroot hidden in the ground there. The sweet peas are still flowering. It's unbelievable, although we do now have many that have gone to seed, and I think that when these start to fatten up a little with the seeds, we ought to keep them and grow our own next year. I did tell you that these would rise very quickly, and they have. You can already see the top of some of the corn there. That's the flower. It's not the sweet corn. The sweet corn will grow from sort of bits like that, nooks in the stem. Nothing with the parsnips yet, but some of the swede is looking like it could be swede-like, because those, to me, look a little bit radishy, and I think they could end up being swede. Brilliant in terms of our carrots. Not so in terms for anything like carrots or aubergines from seeds. This all needs digging up, basically, in here. Now, the kohlrabi, I'm harvesting some of this. The idea is that you harvest them when they are about this big, so that they are not woody. That is a tiny bit large, but I'm going to harvest it anyway, and that is a bit small. The kohlrabi, you use the turnip bit here, you boil, or you can grate it and eat it raw, and these are good as cabbage. So that's one, two, and we'll take that one as well. Three. There we are. It's the colour that gets me, the colour and the shape. They are like little satellites. It's bizarre, very bizarre. And the purple is unnatural, I suppose, in its look, in its shade, but it is natural. It's one of those beautiful colours. Anyway, let's move on. The broccoli, a bit worried about the broccoli, because I think that it should have risen, and I worry that it's going straight to seed. So I'm worried about that. Sprout stalk's doing well. Cabbages hearting up. The cauliflower have gone. Cauliflower harvest is over. Kale has settled in, although not quite as good as everything else. The king cabbage, January king cabbage, are doing really well, apart from one or two which are being eaten. Broad bean flowers are dying, so I'm expecting pods shortly. Look, there's one. There's a lovely pod. That'll be a broad bean pod when it gets... Oh, look! Look, look, look. I don't know when we harvest them. Soon, I would have thought. There are flowers on our dwarf beans, which is good. They're quite late, but never mind. Rogue potatoes still flowering. The netting on my temporary cloche for purple sprouting broccoli has broken. However, the purple sprouting broccoli itself is looking very healthy, and I don't want to keep it covered up any longer than I have to, so I'm not going to fix that right now. The first early potatoes are going yellow and dying back. This is fantastic. They have about a week and a half left growth, maybe, before we have to dig them up. So that's good. The second earlies are also beginning to die back. That's fine. All the earlies should be on their way out now, whereas the middles and the lates, this line of lates, not looking so healthy. Not looking so healthy at all. But never mind. Never mind. The strawberries are almost over. Praise God, because they have been a blessing this year. Lots and lots of strawberries, and yet really we now have no need for any more strawberries. So I'm hoping that these flowers are just going to now, but there are a couple over there, you see, that have flowered again, and there could yet be more of a sort of harvest of that later. Hoping not, to be honest. Our black currants, doing well. They're still a bit brown, but they're not doing too badly. The red currants, now ready for harvest. That one, not quite so much as that one over there, but we're getting there. We have here our dessert gooseberry, which hasn't given us anything this year. Well, actually, I tell a lie, because look, there's a gooseberry down there on it. And there's one or two gooseberries, perhaps. It should... The problem with this one is it's been moved several times, so that's disturbed it. This one has in fact given us a couple this year. This is a normal gooseberry, but he needs room because he's getting claustrophobic with all these strawberries. They keep impinging on him. He needs to grow bigger, and then we won't have so much of a problem. Our opium poppy has finally gone to seed, which is fantastic. We're waiting for those pods to dry out now, before obviously we can do anything with them. The courgettes. Now, what do we have here? This courgette is more like a marrow. Let's pick him. There we are. That's one. What have we got here? That's one. Those two are in fact joined together. That's mad, isn't it? That's absolutely mad. Let's pull that out because it's a bit of a oops, there we are. That's actually joined together, fused. It's come from the same pod. It's effectively twins, isn't it? Bizarre. There we are. I don't think those lot are tiny. And if we look around here, that was... Oh, look. The pumpkins have started to... Now, this is what I mean by moving. You see, this is where pumpkin started, in a little circle, just like that. And then the growing tip has started to move. And it's moved, and it's moved, and it's moved, and we're off in this direction. In fact, this one has moved so much, look. He's now gone over and onto the grass. So I need to just pick him up and move him back in that direction. There we are. Now hopefully he'll continue over there rather than over here. He in fact has several growing tips, and they've all branched off in different directions. They're all going all over the place. Remarkably, we're not doing so badly with our kiwi now. It's doing quite well. The thornless blackberry has sort of gone in the wrong direction. Don't know what we're going to do about that, because look, he's wanting to go over here. We may eventually have to prop this up, you know, sort of a bit like that, but we're not expecting anything from him this year. Same with our white currant, and the white currants over here, they did have one stig on them, but I doubt that's still around. Again, this is the cranberry, and they've bolted a little bit, you see. This is growth that's far too fast, so don't know what's going to happen there. Oh dear. Right, now the onions doing well, fattening up, you can see. Still got a way to go. Garlic beginning to die off. The garlic, I realised that I planted at the wrong time. Should have been planted, in fact, before the winter. Was supposed to mature over the winter, so I'm not sure how well any of this is going to have worked. The good news is I can plant more garlic this year before next winter, so we still have the possibility of it working, if that makes sense. So we'll have to see. I might see now, actually. I might just have a little test, but I'll put these down first. There we are. Look at that. Produce in abundance. First, let's go and just see if we can... We'll see what we can do with these. This one to me looks dead, so I'll give it a tug and see what's come up. What have we got here? Oh, that's supposed to be a garlic bulb. It's well, it is and it isn't. There you are. There you are. Yes, you see there is a garlic bulb under there, and it has sort of worked. I planted just one, and if we can have a look, the outside has gone a bit dirty and rotten, but underneath, you see, they're just going to be very small, I think. Possibly a little bit too small. There we are, you see. Yes, there is a bulb. There is a bulb there. There is a bulb there. And it does smell very garlicky. But the outside of that was rotten, so I want to just lift another one and see. Maybe they need to come up more when they're green, because these are... Do you see what I mean? They're rotting, aren't they? Or maybe that's... See, underneath, they're not bad. It's literally just the surface. Let's pick a green one. This is a nice green one, and see... Oh! Oh, good heavens. Oh. There you are, you see. I don't really know. I mean... It doesn't look too garlicky, does it? It is a garlic bulb, but I'm not sure whether leaving them in the ground does them any harm or not, because if you look at them, that's the one that looked like it was a bit rotten on the surface. Well, that one isn't, but you can see it's exactly the same underneath, so... Well, I'll take these three. I think I need to investigate and see, because if they are starting to rot on the surface, they'll go rotten underneath as well very quickly. So I'll assess that in the next week, I think. Right, now, time to head back because I don't actually have an awful lot of time. And I think you find that these cloves are small because they haven't had chance to mature over winter. So they're only half as big as they would be otherwise.